Hello, this is Laura for Heffy Doodle, and today I'm going to make a wine, cheese, and pasta cards combining Pasta La Vista and Happy Snappy Crocs. I'm starting out by stamping all of my images on Neenah Solar White's 110-pound heavy cardstock using Memento Tuxedo black ink. I am using these really cute pasta stamps from the Pasta La Vista stamp set, and this stamp set comes with little smiley faces, little legs, and even arms to customize your pasta. So I am stamping the little smiley faces, and I also went ahead and stamped the little bows, the arms and legs, and then I also stamped the bottle of wine, the glass, and the piece of cheese from the Happy Snappy Crocs stamp set from Heffy Doodle. And fun fact, the Happy Snappy Crocs stamp set from Heffy Doodle was the first stamp set I ever got from Heffy Doodle. I actually joined Heffy Doodle for their very first blog hop while they were still fundraising money to start their business. So I'm really happy that I was part of that and that I am currently in their design team, so it's like a full circle. I'm coloring my images using Copic sketch markers, and for my pasta stamps I'm using Y38, Y35, and Y32. So I'm just always starting out with my lightest color to get those colors moving more easy. Then I switch to my darkest shade, then use a mid-tone color, and then finally I go back in with that lightest color just to blend everything together. So for the cheese, I used Y19, Y18, and Y13. And then for these little bows, I'm just going in with one single color. I used BG11 for the turquoise bow, and then for the pink bow, I used RV11. For my bottle of wine, I'm using YG93, YG95, and YG97. Then for the little tag on the bottle, I'm using R29, R24, and R22. Now that I colored all of my images, it's time to cut them out. I like to use the coordinating dies, so I'm just going to position those dies and then I run them through my die cutting machine. It's time to customize these little pastas, so I am adhering the little arms and legs to these images using some liquid glue and my tweezers. I applied just a teeny tiny dot of liquid glue, then I tapped that off on my scrap paper over here, and then I was able to perfectly position the arms and legs. I'm using a really small piece of foam tape to adhere the little bows to my Mr. and Mrs. Pasta over here, and I think they just look so adorable. I'm also using a teeny tiny piece of foam adhesive to adhere that little glass to the hand of my pasta. Then I die cut a rectangle, or I am going to die cut a rectangle using the Imperial stitch rectangles die cut set from Heffy Doodle. And after I did that, I am now going in with the Quilted hard background die to create a really pretty and super cute heart background. So I'm just going to run that through my die cutting machine. I like to work with distress oxide inks to create an ombre or a gradient. This time I'm using antique linen and I am combining that with fossilized amber. I like to go from the lightest color to the darkest color, so I usually work from the top of my cardstock all the way to the bottom. And then I usually switch between those two colors to create a really nice ombre effect. And I like to blend until it's like a really smooth gradient because I don't want to see any harsh lines. So I'm just always switching back and forth between the lightest and the darkest color, and using good brushes also make a really big difference. So now that I ink blended my background, I am going to do some partial die cutting using this rectangle from the Imperial Stitch Rectangles die cut set. I'm using some craft cardstock and I am running that through my die cutting machine. And now you're probably wondering why I am doing this partial die cutting. Well, I want to create a wood floor for my pastas. So I went ahead and partially die cut that rectangle so that the stitched edges would match with my quilted heart background. And then I used this solid stitched line die cut from a Pretty Pink Posh die cut set. I'm prepping my cardstock using a We Are Memory Keepers powder tool. Then I am stamping a sentiment from the classic sentiment stamp set using Versamark ink. I'm going to sprinkle on opaque bright white embossing powder from Wow, going to tap off all of the excess, and then I am heat setting my embossing powder until it's melted completely. Now that I have my sentiment piece and my little pastas and my other colored images, it's time to assemble everything. So first I actually adhered my floor piece to my card without heat embossing my sentiment. Of course, I made a big mistake because I still needed to heat emboss my sentiments. First, I heat embossed a different sentiment on my floor. I didn't end up liking it, so I had to remove that piece completely and then just create a new one. So that's what I did. But I still wanted to show you how I adhered my floor and then my little pastas. Basically, I just used some foam adhesive and then I doubled up the foam adhesive for my pasta images because I wanted those to pop even more. I'm going to create some of my own colored cardstock using the Fossilized Amber Distress Oxide ink pad. I heat embossed that piece after applying that ink and then I prepped it with my powder tool because I am going to do some heat embossing and I wanted to make sure that my embossing powder wouldn't be sticking everywhere. I heat embossed or I stamped a sentiment from the Vista stamp set using Versamark ink. Then I'm using the same white embossing powder from Wow and then my heat tool to heat emboss my sentiment. I am going to adhere a piece of colored cardstock to the back of my quilted heart background. The cardstock I am using over here is this beautiful mint color from Heffy Doodle. It's the color called Hint of Mint, and I thought that it matched beautifully with the mint little bow of my pasta. I die cut another rectangle out of this Hint of Mint cardstock using the Imperial stitched rectangles I could set again from Heffy Doodle. I'm going to assemble everything using my Scotch ATG, and then of course I'm going to use more foam adhesive to make everything pop. I like to add sparkle and shine to my cards. I always finish off by applying some glitter using my Crafter's Companion Sparkle pen, and then of course a coat of glossy accents to make these images pop even more and just to add a lot of shine and sparkle. There you go, that finishes up my wine, cheese, and pasta card featuring the Pasta La Vista same set from Heffy Doodle. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to this channel, and click the notification bell below. I will see you very soon. Bye-bye!